Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Terran versus Zerg, where we find ourselves on the map Stargazers. One thing I don't think I've brought up about the quote-unquote classic Lowko intro that I used to do in literally every single video is that I usually do all of it off of one breath. So I just ran out. Anyways, what I've got for you today is a top level game of Terran vs Zerg. We're in the top right hand corner of the map, playing here with the red Zerg drones. From Italy, we have Reynor, and his opponent in the top left, playing here with the blue SCVs, already going for a gas geyser. We're looking at HeroMarine's main command center. Alrighty, so... HeroMarine starting off this game with a cheeky quick gas and then also a barracks right next to the command center. This is something that Terran players have been experimenting with over the last couple of months. I've seen Bjorn go for this in some of his games as well. Actually, it may have been on the same map. This is, theoretically speaking, a little bit risky because you're leaving the front door wide open. But then again, what really are the chances that Reynor is going to be rushing Zerglings to watch the other side of the map in a game like this? He's already going for the hatchery on the low ground into a gas geyser and then a spawning pool at home. So everything is normal right here on the side of the Zerg. I don't think I really like this barracks positioning all too much, but I think HeroMarine has got something in mind with this opener, because otherwise it doesn't really make a lot of sense. One problem that I've got with this, right? So he'll be very likely to follow up with a factory right over here on the high ground, because otherwise, well, you could place it anywhere else, but it would be very risky if you put it right over here. The problem is, normally what you do is you build the reactor on the barracks, and then you switch the factory and the barracks positioning over so you can start pumping out those Hellions 2 at a time. There's the factory. Overlord is going to see the timing of the factory here in just a moment, and honestly at this point, since Reynor doesn't see a barracks anywhere, he should probably make the assumption that it's not going to be Hellion play, right? So if you go for this start, I've got a feeling you're actually giving a little bit of information right here to Reynor that you would probably rather not have him have. Or have him have? Well, I guess that makes sense. Anyways, this particular game was, however, played during the European Regionals of Dreamhack Atlanta, which I think was about a month and a half or so ago. So there is a good chance that at this point, Reynor hasn't really played against the style all too often because, well, we've seen players only very recently really experiment with this, and maybe maybe there's a chance he hasn't really thought about this all too much just yet. Anyhow, Reaper getting a little bit of work in, trying its very best to get some damage done, but all of the Zerglings will live, and the Creep Tumor will indeed go up uncontested. It's going to be a very quick pocket expansion here as well for HeroMarine. One nice thing you can do, of course, with this is that when you go for the orbital command, yep, there you go, you can mine out those two small mineral fields, and you can actually, well, very safely mine in that position. Not a whole lot that the Zerg player is going to be able to do against it. This starport, though, is actually incredibly quick. Okay, so that is certainly the idea behind the refinery. Here's the problem for Reynor. Zerg usually does not start up any spore crawlers until like 4 minutes. He's even gonna go for the cloaking here too. Until like 4 minutes and 30 seconds at earliest. Against Protoss, we see them a little bit sooner than that. Yeah. Unless Zerg is opening up with properly timed queens, but usually we are not gonna see spores here for another little while. Reynor, as a matter of fact, now decides to go for the Pneumatized Carapace upgrade. That is the Overlord speed. He's gonna find out what's happening on the other side of the map, but he really needs to make sure he actually gets detection here before that Banshee shows up. This is gonna be an incredibly quick cloak. Interesting. Okay, so a Banshee rush to start things off. It's one of the nice things about these maps with those orbital commands that you can safely put in this pocket base, right? You can actually take a slightly bigger risk here in the earlier stages of the game and not likely be punished for it. Honestly, this 4th CC is not even late. This is like a 3rd CC rather. It's like a 4-minute mark, yeah, 3rd CC, which is by no means embarrassing. Anyways, here we go. Reynor scouts right now what he's going up against. He sees the cloaked Banshees. Does he realize at this point what he's playing against? Because it's not uncommon to scout cloaked Banshees at this point. The conventional time would be to start up spores right now. There you go. 4 minutes, 35 seconds. Very normal, but at this point, the Banshee cloaking field is already done. Now, how many kills can he get? I'm gonna go with 9. Okay, maybe that's a little much. Maybe 7. Huh? Nah, he's not gonna get that many. Hello? Well, I think he could have had 9. With a little bit better targeting, I think he could have had 9. Pretty good start right there for the Terran, for sure. Cheeky little opener. Okay, he's got 7 in the end. He could have had 9. He could have had 9. Yeah, with better control, I think he could have. There's a second Banshee too. Maybe this one will make me proud, but I thought that the first one was going to be able to snipe quite a few of them pretty easily. Not a bad beginning here, though, whatsoever for HeroMarine, although you do have to keep in mind that that is basically his entire early game, right? He's got a couple Hellions, right? 4 Hellions, not bad. Did we just see a transfusion of a drone? Yeah, we did. He cares about its workers. We do have a couple Hellions out, but it's not like those are going to be able to really do that much damage on the other side of the map. I think he'll probably keep these defensively. Usually we see them being used in like a mid-game push or to like defend the third command center, right? From like Zergling run-bys, that sort of thing. You can morph them into Hellbats in one of the later stages of this game. Always nice to keep them around. Maybe a scan over here would not be bad. No, it's kind of expensive though at this point. He decides to not go for that. The main follow-up right now for Terran is going to be, I think, when 1-1 finishes up, which, where are they? There you go. Yeah, it's going to still be a little bit. 4th command center, or 4th Zerg command center. The 4th hatchery gets denied for at least a little while longer. But the Banshees, hey, he's got 9 kills! Oh, I swear to God, I haven't seen this game before. This is, by the way, one of those games that is over a megabyte big as far as the replay file size goes. So I'm hoping, I don't think I've brought that up yet, right? Anyways, I'm hoping that because of that, this game is going to be excellent. Generally speaking, the very large replay files, they tend to be really, really good games. So hopefully this one will also be up to the task. I guess, small spoiler with that as well though, because that does mean that this game is not going to be ending here anytime soon. So despite this nice early game start right here for HeroMarine, it's not going to be enough to leverage his way into a victory. Well, maybe later on, but it's going to be a very small leverage. One of the problems, look at the minimap already, right? One of the problems you see right now at this point in the game, when you don't have that group of Hellions roaming the map, is that the creep spread is absolutely unchecked. Sure, you can deal some economic damage. It's a little bit more difficult to quantify creep spread. I've actually asked one of the interface makers of StarCraft 2 to think about adding a new feature to this map this map interface, like this observer interface, that would show us the percentage of the map covered in creep. Because I think that would be really cool if we could like see, you know, at this point 37.9% of the map is covered in creep, right? You could very easily quantify the amount of creep that is actually already out there, because that's one of those statistics that is incredibly important, especially in this matchup, but not something that we can really easily discuss. I mean, we can only say, hey, creep is really far, that's awesome, but we can't really discuss exactly how good it is and, well, how good, for example, the players are compared to one another. Because we all know that, for example, Scarlet is very good at creep spread, at least historically she's always been very strong in that department. But how good exactly is she? Anyways, the Stimpack push has arrived. 1-1 is done. Honestly, this Terran army doesn't look that big to me. I'm a little bit afraid because Baneling speed is already finished here for the Zerg, who now decides to collapse on top of this army. Those Hellbats are nice, but I think they're going to get cleaned up pretty easily. This is a nice push from the Terran player, but there's just too much Zerg. Save the tank? Yep, save the tank. Okay, so if we look at the battle report right here, yeah, quite a few units were still killed, I guess, by the Terran. The problem is 44 Zerglings, well, a couple Banelings as well, they don't really actually achieve that much. Yeah, it's not like that really deals that much damage. Here's the follow-up push. I also don't think I like this too much, although there is a chance that Reynor has been making a couple too many drones. He decides to just jump on this before the tanks can even siege up. There's that tank that was saved earlier getting wrecked. And now suddenly that nice early game here for HeroMarine has been, I think, completely nullified. The only thing that's not so hot here for Zerg is the fact that the creep is not really reaching its arms on this section of the map, but everything below this is looking fantastic. And I actually think this may very well be the safest expansion to take next. Reynor gonna go for the golden minerals here very soon. He's stacking up towards the Hive. We've already seen Hydras hit the battlefield too, so there's a good chance we're gonna be seeing a Lurker den momentarily. At the very least, that's an option. He could also go into an Ultra Cavern or anything along those lines. Okay. Gabe right now, scanning the bottom of the map. He hasn't quite seen the gold base yet, but at the very least he's getting rid of a lot of those creep tumors, which I like quite a bit. He hasn't actually figured out yet that the golden minerals are going to be acquired here soon enough, but... nope. That is 10 supply down the drain. Planetary Fortress, in the meantime, coming up at the 4th base location of HeroMarine. So, slowly but surely, he's taking control of this section of the map. Reynor still making use of that Overlord speed that he got earlier, which of course also affects the Overseers. Makes them a little bit quicker. That's a skill we barely ever see. I can imagine there's people watching this video that have never seen that skill being used. Overseers have an ability called Contamination. It's honestly a really cool ability, and I actually like to see it more. But, yeah, it's not really commonly used. Basically, you just temporarily shut down the production in the structure, which is cool, right? Especially for, like, timing attacks. If you figure out that your opponent is going for, like, a 2-2 timing, if you can throw that on one of their engineering base, that may very well throw them off of their build entirely, because you slow it down by, like, 20 seconds, which is a full production cycle. Anyhow, wouldn't be surprised if that is something we're going to see more and more of as StarCraft 2's lifespan goes on. I was shouting about Burrow for many years as well. Nobody ever got Burrow, man. These days we see it researched quite frequently. In a standard macro game, we see it actually pretty much every game. Anyhow, here comes Gabe once more. Gabriel going straight through the center of the map. That creep spread's still looking good, but it's being pushed back quite nicely. Golden minerals now being acquired. Okay. I don't think you can fight in that choke point, Reynor. I don't think it's a great idea, no. If you look right now at the income advantage, yeah, you can see when Terran forgot to drop mules, but you can also see when they started, well, running out, right? So this is when the gold started mining. Even though it's not a super significant improvement, it's really quite nice. This game is certainly, though, already making itself up for a longer match, as we've got Ghosts coming up. Ghosts are usually a pretty long-term investment. You want to make sure you get some energy on them as well. And usually just a couple Ghosts is not really going to achieve that much. This isn't Protoss, so you can't EMP them. So you usually want to aim for at least like a dozen or so of them, it seems. That Banshee from the early game still being obnoxious. Is there an Overseer? Well, there's definitely an Overseer out there somewhere. Yeah, here's at the very least one of them. Okay, they're coming on over. One of those small moves that cost the Zerg probably like 20 actions in order to defend. Whereas for the Terran, that costs like 3 actions to execute, which is really the main resource that we're talking about at this point in the game. Both players very fast. Reynor about 100 actions more per minute on average so far, but HeroMarine is going to start picking up the pace as well. There's burrowed banelings set up. This is definitely one of those spots that the Terran army may be wandering through in just a moment. Okay, abductions, parasitic bombs, 2 medevacs get shut down. Double Spire right now for Reynor as well, who's apparently very happy with the amount of money that he's got. And honestly, I can't blame him. Nearly 5,000 minerals, 2,000 gas, not bad whatsoever. I do think it's about time to mine out these mineral fields as well, actually. We never really see that happening, but I don't think it's a bad idea. Is he gonna do it? Dude, I swear I haven't seen this game, but... yeah. Okay. So this is nice because you can actually get towards your own expansion a little bit easier, right? HeroMarine very much so the guy right now who's dropping in this area. It'd be nice to make sure you can easily reinforce that spot too. Can you also knock down these rocks? Since I'm apparently in command of what's happening in this game, can you... come on, knock down the... okay, it's not gonna happen. Maybe now, maybe after he cleans this up. Okay, now the rocks. Turns out I'm not playing a Pokemon game. Ooh. Cheeky little burrow on the bridge. I don't know how you would burrow on a bridge anyways. This looks like a very thin wooden little bridge. Anyways, apparently banelings can still pull it off, man. Magical tools after all. Reinforcements are certainly needed there. Although additional banelings once again do cool. Hey, there you go. Alright, alright. Turns out Reynor's more like a level 100 Pokemon, okay? They just don't really listen to your commands anymore. But, hey. Eventually, the work got done. Creep tumor? Poof. Creep tumor? Poof. Okay, fine. Nydus worm. Going into the pocket expansion right here of Reynor. Nice ring of missile turrets you've got there. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to it. A lot of Zerglings have already loaded themselves into this structure as well, so... The worm. The mouth of the worm? You think that's the mouth or the butt of the worm? That's actually a very important question that we need to discuss. Do the Zerglings on the other side of the map go in... I don't know. Blinding Cloud right there on a couple of siege tanks, shutting them down. Banelings hunting for all of those ghosts at this point. A couple of tanks do get sniped. Planetary over here also denied. Okay. Good splits here, though, by HeroMarine, getting some very efficient trades, despite the fact that he lost some of his infrastructure. Is that the mouth? I don't know. Maybe there... I feel like there's a lore accurate answer. I feel like jumping into it is uncomfortable anyways. Doesn't really matter all too much. Just like Zerglings and Banelings can burrow on this bridge, no problemo. Even an Ultralisk could burrow on here. I don't know how it makes sense either. With a Nydus worm, actually, you can still send it to an island as well. So say there would be an island up here, you could Nydus straight in that direction. Not bad at all. We had a couple SCVs going down. Sorry, I was busy talking about unrelated stuff. What exactly happened here? Wait, what? I think that's where they died, no? Am I crazy? I backed up into the replay, by the way, for about 10 seconds. Oh, he's killing his own stuff! Oh, okay. I got a little bit confused right there. Yeah. Poor guys. You thought the planetary was your savior? You've been replaced, bro. You've been replaced. God, that feels bad. Okay, 15 SCVs end up going down. HeroMarine apparently, yeah, done with those guys. Kinda sucks. Maybe it's a mistake, though, because now there's once again a Zerg swarm moving forward. HeroMarine had only 59 workers. It's really not that much. He doesn't have that much money here either. Anyways, now there's lurkers instead of that pocket expansion. And this is annoying to break, right? This is super annoying. I'm actually a little bit concerned for Gabe at this point in the game. He doesn't really have... I mean, he's got a good amount of bases, don't get me wrong, but... There's only one base he can actually take right now moving forward. Like, he's playing a very passive game after a very aggressive early game. But if the golden minerals here are gonna be mined out, the only possible base that HeroMarine can be aiming for is the one in the bottom left. That's it. There's no other mineable resources on this map. So if that's the case, is just one additional base going to be enough to fight against the amount of income that Reynor has right now? Because this is the shared base right here, right? If you draw like a vertical line on the minimap from top to bottom, this is the shared base right over here. Everything on the left is going to be the Terran, everything on the right is going to be the Zergs. This is a good amount of additional money that Reynor has got in this game. I wouldn't even mind seeing Reynor starting to mine this expansion here, but it's going to be difficult to pull that off. So I think actually Reynor has got fantastic foresight here, thinking about that already. HeroMarine does not know about the burrowed Banelings, which could get very messy if he doesn't scan in this direction, because he's now moving that... Okay, he's moving the Thor army over. Fair enough. Maybe not the end of the world, but... He's gonna need this base. If Reynor mines this out, it doesn't really matter how cost efficient you trade here as Terran. If Reynor mines out that base in the bottom left, you are super dead. Very ambitious little SCV. It doesn't know. Oh god. Don't do it. Don't do it. You can see Reynor selecting them as well, right? He's like, bro, come! Okay, eventually some of the units got denied. That missile turret guy also no longer alive. SCV got picked off, but apparently he was immediately replaced. Snipes going down on Banelings and a couple of Zerglings. Not quite ideal. If Reynor can successfully deny this expansion for a little while longer, that would be really, really good for him. I mean, he's almost there with creep spread. It'd be obnoxious at the very least. Is he purposefully doubling up right away on on sensor towers? I think so. He's got 2 sensor towers right next to one another over here, and then the same over on the left side here too, or at the bottom of this map. That's pretty cool. Do we see snipe on Zerglings? Is that really what we have right here? Thought it was a mistake the first time around, but he's doing it again. So the Zerg army has Vipers, Infestors, and we obviously have the Spires already done. Greater Spire here is finished. Lurkers are still inside of the network too. So Reynor has got nearly 20,000 resources in the bank. There's the fusion core. There's the additional starports. Okay. I already saw flyer attacks. Yeah, there it is. So that's the air weapons here for the Terran units. Seeing a couple of those battle cruisers maybe would be really nice. I'm not gonna lie, that would be fantastic. We don't normally see battle cruiser transitions that often anymore, but okay, these Zergling run-bys are fantastic though. This is something that Reynor has really optimized over the years. It's what he first actually became very popular and very well known for. That was like, what, 4 siege tanks going down at a cost of a couple of Zerglings? He'll take that trade any day of the week, especially since now that opened up supply for 10 Brute Lords. So we've got Lurkers, Brute Lords, Zerglings, Banelings, Vipers, Infestors. Assuming you can control all of it really well and you have, give or take, 3, 4, 5 hands. If you have that many hands and arms, I think you can control a unit composition like this really cleanly. But that's really the sky really is the limit here. APM still going up. Spore Crawler Forest also coming up, which is kind of funny because there's very few flyers. Instead, by the way, we're going for the more conventional Liberator transition here. Nothing all too weird. More Brute Lords. Okay, so up to this point, HeroMarine hasn't really seen any Zerg flying units. He's gonna see, okay, a bunch of Brute Lords, and when he first faces off against them, they're gonna be at the very least close to finishing up the +3 flyer attacks. These units are gonna pack a punch. Gonna be kind of scary. 5 Liberators, though, coming up all at once. That's why Reynor is making all of those Spore Crawlers to make sure that they can't just advance super easily. He's now dropping a couple thousand minerals that he's got. And, well, building up some static defense, which is certainly not a bad idea. So HeroMarine is seemingly completely okay with the game that is, being played right now. He hasn't really made a move to the Nydus expansion at all. So apparently his entire game plan has been to just mine out his side of the map and give his opponent a full extra base. Is that the strategic correct idea? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that it is. Did Brenda just get destroyed? I think the Queen just got denied over here. Poor Queen. She's being changed out for better units as well, just like those SCVs from earlier. Okay, there's an abduction. Okay, one snipe does go down on a Brute Lord as well, so that's nicely done. But here's that little Brute Lord micro trick that we've been seeing. It's not super popular, but we've seen it at this point in the game a couple of times. So what you do is you throw Brutelings on your Brutelings. As long as you've got one set of them spawned, yeah, you can continuously send units in here. And then you kind of hope that Terran is too busy, maybe looking away for a little bit, and then you abduct some units with those Vipers. It doesn't really seem to achieve too much so far, though. Yeah, excellent movement here by HeroMarine. I like that positioning of his quite a bit, but... okay, that's a siege tank going down. I think one Viper may have also just got the snipe. This fight rather can go on for a little while, though. Oh, HeroMarine killed one of his own units, I guess, with splash damage. That's the Queens. He actually killed 3 of his Queens earlier. Okay, so that is what you're looking for, though, as Zerg. He'll basically grab whatever, but especially Ghosts are fantastic. Now, one way to break out of this position is the tactical nuke. So HeroMarine right here doesn't really want to give away any more than he needs to. But I would have liked to see that nuke already available, right? Because that is the obvious way that you can try and force this fight to go better. Tactical nuke is available. A new one immediately starts up. This is going to put a timer right here on the Zerg. Is he brave enough to make that move to try and get rid of that one ghost that is currently channeling that ability? Okay, he decides to cancel the nuke since he's now got the position. Yeah. I mean, he's got the position, but where are you going to go? Are you really going to set up right over here on the low ground? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. We're actually missing one upgrade for both of these players. The +3 air weapons for Terran. Actually quite important. And the +3 missile attacks here for Zerg. Not as important. Doesn't really do that much. I feel like Terran's bleeding out quite a lot of stuff here, though. I mean, nothing all too significant, but there's another tactical nuke once again. He wanted to abduct, and he gets the abduction. Oh. He's so flexible with switching the hotkeys to the appropriate unit. From abduction straight to a fungal growth right there. It looks easy, but when you're actually sitting there at your keyboard and you have like 6 different control groups, it's very easy to accidentally mess things up. Anyhow, the Thors in the meantime, though, have been working away at the static defense. There you go. The golden minerals will now be denied. I mean, there's still some... well, there's no more golden minerals, actually. Anyways, the base at the 6 o'clock position. Oh. Looking to get denied. There's still a little bit of gas remaining. About 600 gas in total. I doubt that the game is going to come down to the final 600 gas, but you never know. What a dance. What a dance between these two. I feel like neither Reynor or HeroMarine are dancers in real life. Maybe they are. Actually, I've seen HeroMarine dance at Home Story Cup. It was a sight to behold. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. But I feel like in general, these guys are better at dancing on the keyboard than they are at dancing in real life. Maybe Reynor, though. I don't know. Anyway. They're probably better dancers than me. Let's just keep that straight, okay? I don't dance. I mostly just step from side to side. Maybe do the occasional jump, depending on the music. Anyways. HeroMarine is actually advancing. I didn't expect this to go particularly well for him, but he's actually doing a phenomenal job keeping these units in the right place. I'm just really afraid that this is all going to go downhill. There's 2 abductions. Those abductions are lethal. The ghosts were not in the correct place, and if they're not in the correct place, then suddenly the abductions are very dangerous. So ghosts, of course, do have the EMP ability that allows them to remove energy out of those Zerg spellcasters. Theoretically speaking, he should be able to outrange those Zerg spellcasters, but it is difficult to predict exactly where they're going to be coming from. 29 kills on that ghost, by the way. A lot of these Terran units actually getting insanely good value. Okay, we're trading out more SCVs. The SCVs are being traded out primarily... he's not even killing them. Primarily to open up more supply. Apparently the supply he's looking for right now is going to be additional Hellions and then also a Liberator. This is very different than the stalemate we see in Zerg vs. Protoss from time to time, right? This is... oh god, that's not good for the Terran. Is it? Well, he took a lot of damage at the very least on one of the Thors, but he's still pushing back this position. We're getting to the point, by the way, where literally every single mineral on this map is going to be run out. Like, we're getting to the position now where there's essentially no more mining going on. I mean, another 5 minutes or so, I think we're basically dried up. That is interesting. Not a situation we find ourselves in all too often. Honestly, as this game progresses right here, right? I am liking this army for HeroMarine a little bit better. That being said, I'm not sure what Reynor could do to make his army better overall. He's going to be able to remax quite a bit easier. Because he's got more money, right? Plus Zerg obviously builds way quicker here than Terran. So even though I think the army here that Terran has is slightly more cost efficient, if he keeps playing the way that he has been, I'm a little afraid that the amount of reinforcements Reynor can make is just a little bit too big. But obviously this is something that HeroMarine is planned for, right? Like he literally gave his opponent that 6 o'clock base and he said, you know what? Not much I can do about it, I'll just give it to you. So it seemed to me that he was okay with things going the way that they were going. But I wonder if that really was the wisest decision. Can Terran really win against Zerg when they have got a full base less worth of mining? That is a lot of money. I mean, that's the full bank that we see in the difference right now, right? Okay. Those ghosts, ooh, getting absolutely destroyed just now. At least quite a few of them just got destroyed by those banelings. That is a trait that Reynor will be more than happy to make. He's now remaxing with more corruptors. Maybe wants to add on more Brute Lords. Probably not a bad choice. Another fungal growth over here. Those Spore Crawlers helping out quite a bit as well. Viper's getting some additional energy too. Okay. There's a Neural Parasite as well. Switching sides. Blinding Clouds from those Vipers. Getting a lot of damage. HeroMarine overstaying is welcome. I mean, I've got a feeling that this would work against weaker Zerg players. Right? I feel like in practice, if HeroMarine does this, he probably wins 90 out of 100 games. Well, that's bad. Anyways, he probably wins the majority of the games. But does he practice against people of the caliber of Reynor? I don't know if these two guys are practice partners. Does he practice against someone like Serral? Because I've got a feeling that both Reynor and Serral are the only two European Zergs that just won't... Maybe Lambo could pull it. But anyway, it's kind of difficult to say. I've got a feeling that this maybe works in practice the majority of the time. But when you're actually doing it in a tournament match like this game, it's probably not as reliable of a win. So here's the situation right here. You can see it at the bottom of the screen. HeroMarine is going to smash his piggy bank to max out one more time. He's still getting a little bit of income, which is nice, I suppose. So right now he's mining more than his opponent because Reynor's not really mining at all. But Reynor still has 20,000 plus resources in the bank. Okay. With one good EMP though, this battle can still change very rapidly. As soon as the spellcasters from the Zerg are taken out of the equation, this fight will usually look very differently. So this is an army that is really just... okay. This is an army that's really just made to deny Brute Lords. So theoretically speaking, in a straight up battle, Thors do win against Brute Lords. But obviously when you have Brutes in this big of a number, since air units like this can stack up together, it actually does slowly but surely give the advantage right here to the Brute Lord guy. Because the Thors take up a lot of space. Right? If they were smaller, these fights would go quite a bit more straightforward, but... I guess he doesn't want to go any Vikings because of parasitic bombs and fungal growths and all that, but I wonder if that may be a good choice as well. There's finally the +3 flyer attacks coming up. Or air weapons. Okay. HeroMarine though, what he's aiming for right now is this, right? He was almost there. He already got to this spot right over here, but he's aiming for the natural low ground expansion for Reynor and then also the main base. If he can deny all of that, that's where the majority of the tech is located. I wouldn't even mind seeing Reynor already making an additional lair, just because he can afford it. There's a good chance that Terran is going to be able to break through at some point, and it then comes, well, all down to the remax. How much larva do we... okay, he's got 77 larva. That's pretty good. Okay, not enough blue flame hellbats. Quite a few, but not quite enough. There's another unit going down. I think that giving Reynor one entire additional base is too much. The cost efficiency of this late game Zerg army is quite remarkable if it is controlled properly. If you ever seen me play this, it's really remarkable how bad this late game composition in my hands is. But when you have a good player, I mean, look at the army values at this point, right? This is one hell of a Zerg army. Plus, on top of that, all the static defense as well. Couple more Marines end up going down. Not the end of the world. I don't think you want to have any Marines at this point in the game anyways. He's getting rid of some of the creep that's closer to the bases right now. Keep in mind, at any point, there could always be like a Nydus network in the main base too. Okay. Just checking if there's any more money. Very little. Very little. So these are the ultimate armies. It doesn't really get any better than the armies that we've got right now. And I've got a feeling that since Terran is the one pushing into the Zerg, As long as these fights keep taking place on creep with the Zerg static defense present, I've got a feeling that HeroMarine is going to slowly be whittled away at. I like, by the way, that he's using changelings, right? So we saw Dark using the Brute Lords by shooting the Brutelings at one of the Spore Crawlers or a Creep Tumor, and I think Reynor has done it a couple times as well, but he's been dropping changelings to then drop the Brutelings on top of that instead, which is actually kind of clever. I haven't really thought about that all too much, but that is fun. Okay, Thors are being killed, though. Hello, HeroMarine, are your hands still at the keyboard? Ay, 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 ay. He's getting absolutely demolished. Yeah, so in theory, a cool strategy here from HeroMarine that works against 99.9% of Zerg players out there. But I've got a feeling that against, well, the top 3, top 4-ish best Zergs in the world, it's unlikely that this strategy is going to work out. I'm looking at a way out right now for HeroMarine, but I don't see it. I mean, look at the bank. Look at the bank. So much money still available here for the Zerg player. Turns out the answer to Thors is more Brute Lords. So, 10 Brute Lords versus 10 Thors. Thors win every time. 15 Brute Lords versus 10 Thors. Guess what? The Thors still win. Turns out, though, when you have 35 Brute Lords and you're going up against, like, 15 Thors or 36... suddenly the Brute Lords get a little bit more obnoxious because the Thor spent so much time trying to kill the Brutelings. That's why the Hellbats get added into the mix, but right now only 2 Hellbats really remain. And again, I know there's gonna be people looking at this video and they're like, oh, Zerg, overpowered. This was the strategic decision that HeroMarine made, right? Like, he decided, you know what, I'm gonna give Zerg an entire additional base. And I'm not going to do anything about it. Like, he basically set himself up for a super passive game. And this is the end result that he, you know, came out with. And, yeah. I just don't see how this is going to win the game for him. There's another abduction. Excellent spellcaster control here, by the way. Is there a counter for how many Brutelings have died? No, sadly not. That would have been funny. I guess they don't cost any resources. The army is still maxed. And before this turns out to be a Terran victory, I'm gonna lose my mind if this is gonna be a Terran win. I feel like HeroMarine has been losing for the last 30... ever since the Banshees. At the last 30-ish minutes. 31, 32. I think that Banshee arrived at like the 4-minute mark. It's been downhill ever since. Okay, there's another blinding cloud, denying a lot of those Thors. Thor's trying to back up around the clouds, but every time we see a Thor backing up, that's also a Thor going down. And in the meantime, for Zerg, I mean, they're taking a lot of damage. Honestly, the Liberators could actually... if you get enough Liberators against clumped up Battlecruiser... no, that's not Battlecruiser. If you get enough Liberators against clumped up Brute Lords, that could, theoretically speaking, sort of work out. But we're now at 40 Brute Lords. One Hydra, apparently, feeling very ambitious as well. HeroMarine seemingly making a move over here, but he's lost a lot of supply. There's some neural parasites once again. There's a blinding cloud of fungal growth. There's more energy available too. I think this is HeroMarine's final stand as the Brute Lords are absolutely ripping everything apart. A couple of those Corruptors picking off whatever they can. And in a 38-minute long match, it is Reynor who obtains the victory.